Hello and good evening, crowd. We've got Hillary and Dave and Mike and hello.
Marilyn.
Yes, Marilyn. All right, thank you all for coming. We appreciate you taking the time out of your summer, or almost end of the summer, to join us. So let's stand and do the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Let's move to number 3, which is the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to consider approving the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And motion passes 5-0. All right. Let's move on to number 4, approval of minutes from our last meeting, which was on July the 7th. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from our regular study and voting session on July the 7th?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And motion passes 5-0. Let's move on to Jen and the approval of our donations this month.
Okay, we have a few of them. A donation from Good Donor Advised Fund, a check donation in the amount of $47.50 for PHS Miscellaneous. A.W. Scott Jr. and Sandra Scott in the amount of $25 for PHS Can-Do Award in memory of Paul Hicks. A donation from Mountaintop Quilters Guide in the amount of $130 for PHS Athletic Department. Darcy Hicks donated $500 for the Can Do Award Scholarship Fund in memory of Dr. Paul Hicks. A cash donation from an anonymous donor of $25 for PUSD Indian Education, and a donation from an anonymous donor in the amount of $25,000 for PUSD K4 curriculum supplement.
Do we
want to,
anything
can
more
we
you can
share a little about that,
Lots
Clark?
of information. Brian's probably got the most
without
complete and
telling
direct
us who did
information.
it?
Sarah forwarded me a call from a lady who called and said, we want to give some money. And so her and her husband met with me, and
Brian got a change jar and he's like, okay.
yeah, and actually it wasn't far off. And I sat and she's a former teacher and he was an engineer, and they'd like to stay anonymous. And they're just like, I spent too much money out of my pocket, and I want to make sure that our teachers don't, but we don't want papers, and we read about the teacher's closet,
Right.
actually, because I pointed them in that direction. And they're just like, nah, we want to do more than just that. So so they're giving. I put it in charge of one of our principals. They got together and he took charge of it. And what they're going to do is $400 and change per teacher, and the team will make up how much that team gets. And by next week, I'll let the donors know, each team at each of the K4 schools, the area in which they're going to want to buy something, whether it's math, enrichment, or whatever. And then in September, we'll let them know exactly what they bought, but each team will have anywhere from $850 to $1,600, and art, music, and PE will each get $1,000, depending upon if they're full-time or part-time. And that added up to like $24,700 or something like that. And then a little excess went in case a few things were more. But they're just like, we want to give. And
That's awesome.
And she even said, and I might be calling you next year for the same thing. So I was just like, okay, we'll get you in the classroom. And so anyway, so they just are folks that moved here from California and have been blessed in their life, and they want to give back. And they live in Prescott, so they
Good for
reached
them.
out to PUSD.
What a
We
blessing.
do
That's
have a lot
awesome.
of people that do like to do that, just step up
It
to
was
the plate and help out.
an amazing conversation and good people.
Right.
And that's it. Clark,
Did-
anything else you want to add?
Did the PUSD one 25 at the end? I didn't hear that, I probably missed that. Okay.
I went out of order to end on the 25,000.
Wow.
Do we have a motion to approve the donations for this past month?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 And that passes 5-0. Now on to presentations. Mr. Clever, what have we been up to on the foundation board?
All right, so board members, Mr. Superintendent, staff, and audience members, thank you for having me. I'm Dave Clever, the chairman of the PUSD Education Foundation, and I'm here to give our annual review. So I'll get started right away. So I'm glad to report that last year we gave $166,000, which I believe is a record, directly to his district for support. And Mr. Ten, you can always chime in too. Yeah, there you go. I was hoping for a reaction. So that makes our total since 2019 $1.4 million. So.
Now, what can I say? It's when you see the numbers.
I know.
Yeah.
Dave, how come it's from 2019?
So we started looking at how we're doing our financial reports, and that's when it was more consistent, when we had a consistent format. So tracking-wise, that was a lot easier.
Gotcha.
We could go back a little further, obviously, but
Yeah.
But we kind of
Nice.
dug up through the 990s as well to make sure that we're accurately reporting what we've contributed. So, so some of that money is broken down by. Now, if you recall, this is I think our third year for this. A while back, we knew there was a problem retaining middle school math teachers, so we decided to give $35,000 in salary supplements to help recruit and retain math teachers. This last year, we contributed $30,000 towards the Granite Mountain Library remodel. Now, Karen Hughes decided to use the money for this. Part of that was looking at what we did at PHS, which was our first big grant, and the success that brought in. So the library went from a quiet space for lunch where everybody hangs out now. And so the same idea was applied here.
Sarah, can we back up just one slide? I just wanted to ask Dave one more thing. I don't want teachers in the district to look at this and think we just divided the math teachers by a certain number and gave them more money. There was more involved than just cutting them a check. I believe they had to do training. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kelsey would know better, but it wasn't just here's a check because you teach math.
No, it was not. I mean, the goal is to help recruit and retain, but we also, in order to retain, we want to make sure that they're trained and that they have what they need to be successful math teachers. So they're doing all kinds of professional development. Part of it is working with an instructional coach. They're going to observe others and provide feedback. So last year, they didn't just observe teachers at their own site. They actually went to other sites and other locations and other grade levels to get ideas as well.
Perfect.
Yep.
Now you can go two ahead.
Yeah, it's definitely incentive, Dave, if I can jump in.
Sure.
To attract people, right, to come here instead of someplace else that pays $3,000 less or something like that. It would have made $2,000 more without the incentive that we're able to provide from the foundation. But Kelsey's exactly, and Jane are both exactly right. It's not, just you happen to teach math, so we'll give you more. We say, okay, you happen to teach math. We're so glad you're here. Here's substantially more money, but you're going to have to everybody hones their craft every year, whether they teach, preschool or AP calculus or whatnot, but these folks have to do even more to get on the same page with each other and make sure they're dialed into the curriculum and whatnot. And our test scores this last year
I was going to say the test scores reflect
starting to get some traction.
Yes, that's
great.
It's making a difference.
All right, so library. And then, so one of the big things that I need to call out Jane for, thank you to Jane and Carol Yetman, who run the Teacher's Closet. You can see our growth in the number of visits. It's just kind of skyrocketed, 645. I know we changed to, we opened it up some more, and Jane, you could probably help out on why those numbers increased so much, but probably a lot more awareness of the Teacher's Closet.
I think it's a lot more awareness. I think teachers are in the know now that I don't just do pencils, I can do far and away more of that. This might be a good time I don't even know if you know that. We heard from the Amazon warehouse in Prescott Valley. Do you know this? Were you going to mention that?
Well, that happened this year, but I just found out about it, so I know Paul just met
We
with
just met
Amazon,
with the manager of the Amazon warehouse out in PV, and they are going to set the Teacher's Closet up with the budget of $500 a month to supply the closet with things that teachers need, which really opens it up to me and what I can get for teachers. I can really go outside the box if they have a special project. And we're also going to fund, I believe, although I don't know this is for certain yet, STEAM projects, the supplies
Yes.
for STEAM.
Right.
So we're going to set that up so teachers can get a budget for supplying their classrooms with what they need for the STEAM classes. So
And
We're
if they,
growing.
also, I can add, if the teachers notice that some kids don't have supplies, they can use the teacher's closet for that as well.
if they
So,
do. We have a lot of kiddos showing up now with their supply list from school, and Judy Stuntzel over at the Family Resource Center then gives them a backpack with the supplies they're supposed to take to school, so when they show up on Thursday morning, they have a backpack full of supplies,
Yeah.
which is that just touches my heart in a
it's
very
great.
deep way.
Yeah. So
Jane,
very-
when did it move to PHS, the closet? What year? How long has it been there? It's 3 years?
2023, maybe?
How about the
Yeah.
full portable there?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
When did
that's
you-
probably right, probably
I'm-
3 years ago.
So it started
2023.
doubling and now, geez, now you've doubled
Yeah.
again and.
It's a little more comfortable in the portable. The original closet was a little
Oh, with a closet.
It was a closet,
claustrophobic.
yeah. Then a little room, and then it was here for a while.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes,
So,
it was upstairs
yeah. So,
in the gym.
yeah, if you haven't gone to visit recently, you should go and see the amazing work that Jane and Carol have done. So, but moving along. So this year, I know all of you have been to Rising Stars, and so this year we recognize 7 students as well as the educators that make a difference in their lives. So it's just a great event to be able to put on, and I think we're the only foundation in the state that does something like this. So. We also have a scholarship program now, 4 scholarships. There are 2 of them are specifically, there's a donor who said he wanted to, the family wanted to fund scholarships for students who are going into education. So 2 of them for that, and then there's 2 more for general scholarships. So. We also have been funding the Hungry Kids Project through the foundation now. I think this is our 2nd full year now. So, but the impact is amazing. The next slide shows, you can see the increase in the number of children served has gone up quite a bit, but also the overall cost, with inflation and the increased numbers. So, but we're still on track, and we'll be able to fund this with a large sum of money that a donor gave
It
Mm-hmm.
was
uh,
a
us,
donor, yeah.
restricted funds. After that, but it's not going to stop if that runs out. It's just going to go back to the Arizona Community Foundation. So,
We'll find another donor.
yeah. How do we raise our money? Well, the big event, another record this year was the Sip and Savor. Look for an invitation. But a record $100,000 was raised last year. That is amazing. Kathy Shishka leads that, and she does a great job. So it's a fun event too. So and the other thing was the whiskey off-road beer. Now this one I do have an update on. So it's 2 days. We raised $9,800. It's a lot of work, but this year, if you look down here, 4th of July, the city reached out to us because they took over the 4th of July celebration at Pioneer Park now, and they wanted a beer garden and reached out to us to do it. So in one day, we netted $10,000. So
One day.
10,000 in one
6
day.
hours, yeah.
In 6 hours.
You and I have been running that.
The
with
city,
you.
they do like beer.
No snow
And
fencing.
by the
snow
way,
fencing.
we have some fencing for sale because we had to buy the fencing for the Whiskey Off-Road, which we don't need anymore. So, I know. So, yeah, so next year, mark your calendars. It was a great event, and so we will continue to do that. This last year, we were also recognized by the Arizona Community Foundation. They recognized 3 top charities, they picked them, and we were one of the ones they recognized. So it's nice to finally get some great recognition from, the Arizona Community Foundation. So that was another one of our nice honors to get. And with that, that was it.
Sure.
So any questions?
Any questions for Dave?
comments?
Brett has a question.
I just think
You
your
look like
work
you
is
do.
amazing. Thank you for all the hours you put in and how you support the kids. And I love to see the money go right to the kids. And just thank you for all you do.
Well, I got to thank about everybody in this room, too, for helping at a lot of our events. We have 2 founding members, Jen Bergamini and Stan Galagowski here, and so, it's a team effort, and it's great to be able to do it, so appreciate the opportunity. But anyway, with that, that's the presentation.
No more questions?
Yes.
If you're ever
Thank you,
curious, you
Dave.
might want to stop by Granite and/or the high school and just take a look at the libraries, because
They're pretty
we
great.
got a lot of approval, well, a lot of, I would say, compliments about that. People are going crazy over the way the high school and Granite's like a different place because of that library. It's very fun.
Yeah,
Good
I
place
remember
to
the
have
old
meetings.
library
Yeah.
when it was, my kids went there, so you can't even recognize it.
No.
Yeah. And at the high school, nobody really went in the library.
No, but they do
Anymore,
now.
but now they do.
It's crowded at lunchtime
Yep.
there
And,
now.
and I think at the high school too, wasn't the foundation involved in all of the vinyl
Wrapping?
Oh, the
wrapping
wrapping,
that
yep.
went on?
Yep.
I mean, that has changed the vibe of that place, and, I think people talked about it a couple years ago, but it still has such a much more welcoming feel when you walk in there with all the blue and gold and the kind of Prescott history stuff in there. So that's really a positive impact.
It's made that they did the same at Granite, and it's so cool.
Yeah,
They took all those old Granite T-shirts, slogans, and made them
yeah, at the
all the
library.
art from the T-shirts. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, they're
all
pretty
on the-
creative, too. on-
They
on
were
how they
very
use the
creative.
money as well, so,
Yeah.
a lot to be said for the staff.
Yeah, it's way better than the blinds that were hanging there. And
So good to see those guys.
now you can see out. It's just so cool. It's really, really neat.
Yeah, so, anyway.
Any
All right,
other
well,
questions for Dave? All right, keep up
Great.
the good work, Betty.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, moving on to 6B. Kelsey's going to let us know how that first week with the new staff went.
I will. So, hi. This, to me, is one of the most exciting times of the entire year because we have the whole year ahead of us. We get to welcome new staff. We get to welcome new kids. Our back to school, it's a little bit more than a week now process. So this started July 20th for us. We started to have staff return. Really?
And that's what we did all week.
Clearly. We did a little more, I promise. Was it blank for you, Sarah?
It is,
There we go.
weird.
That's weird.
There you go. You can just do
Okay.
it individually,
Yep.
yeah.
I'll just have you do it and go to the next one. So our summer ended, or kind of started off the school year with our Keystone teachers returning to us. So they came back a week earlier than all of our new staff. So if you remember, our Keystone teachers are ones who have a bachelor's degree, but they're working on becoming certified in the state of Arizona. And so this year we had 4 new teachers join us in our Keystone program, and all 4 of them are special education teachers. So last year was our very first year of having a Keystone for special education program. We had 1 person last year who was enrolled, and this year we have 4 who are enrolled. So that's a really good sign. But what we don't have are any gen ed teachers in Keystone this year. And it's a good and a bad. It means we found appropriately certified staff for all of our school positions. But since we started Keystone in 22, this is the first year we have not had gen ed staff in our Keystone program. So I got to give some kudos to Andy for all the hard work he's done to recruit teachers and bring teachers in, because that's a big part of it. But I also think it's a sign that we're starting to see more teachers in the workforce now. We're seeing teachers leave college. We're seeing teachers come back to the profession, which is really, really good sign. For our Keystone program, I do have to give a really special thanks to Chrissy Shoemaker and Rachel Hawley, who are ESS, so our special education instructional coaches. They're working very closely with Jolie Tickner and Lisa Derian, who run our Keystone for Gen Ed, and they're creating a really cool comprehensive program where we're focusing on special education specific components, but they're Gen Ed teachers first and foremost. So they're getting a lot of the same content that our Gen Ed teachers are getting. And they are a foursome to be reckoned with. So they're doing some amazing things, and the amount of support that these 4 teachers have is pretty impressive. So we can jump to the next one. So our Keystone teachers, what they do in their very first week with us, again, it's just them and their coaches. They spend the morning with their coaches, and this year they started with classroom setup and teacher expectations. What does a classroom need to look like? Again, these are folks who have not participated in student teaching. Some of them might not have been in a classroom since they were in college or in the K-12 system themselves. So really helping them with those foundational pieces. Then we talk about how do you set up rules and procedures to have a productive classroom. Data collection, that's in particular for special education because they're collecting data on their students continuously. And then what does specially designed instruction look like? How do you determine that for each one of your students, and how do you create lesson plans to support that? And then lastly, how do you build relationships? And this is relationships with your students, but our special education teachers also have to have relationships with every teacher on campus because they're supporting all of our kids in the gen ed setting. So that's what they were working on in the morning, and then in the afternoon they had time to kind of process the information from the morning. They had time to set up their classroom. They have a lot to figure out. This is also the first week that our team of instructional coaches are back. So in the morning, we've got our team of coaches who are working with Keystone, and in the afternoon, all of our coaches are working on kind of getting things ready for the school year, whether that's new staff orientation or working with their principals, helping getting ready for all staff to return like they did Monday. So then last Monday, we welcomed our overall new staff. So we call them our class of 26. They're our new PUSD teammates. We had a total of 37 new staff members. Now, some of them were not new to PUSD, which is kind of cool. We have some who maybe were in a classified or a para position and now they're becoming a teacher. Maybe they're a teacher who's moving from a general education setting to a special education setting. So we had a few of those, but overall we had 20 gen ed teachers. We had 10 special education teachers, 2 speech language pathologists, 2 counselors, 1 certified occupational therapist assistant, so we call those our CODAs, 1 social worker, and then 1 instructional framework specialist. And that's the new position that we're hiring to help support instruction up at the high school. So,
any of those former Badgers that have returned to the Prescott area?
Yes.
Yeah?
I've reached that point in my career that some of them are former students, which is kind of cool to see them come through.
Yours.
Of mine,
Right? Yeah,
yes.
not just former students.
Not just former students, my former students.
Inspiration.
Yes, I know, it's kind of cool. But yes, we have lots of Badgers. We actually had quite a few from out of state this year. Wisconsin seemed to be a popular place that they came from. We had like 4 or 5 who were from Wisconsin. It was pretty interesting. But they're an eclectic group from all over the place. You can go. Thank you, Sarah. So Monday, we start our day with a welcome to Prescott. Who are we? What are we about? Meet all of the important people that you're going to need to know on your journey here. Thank you to those of you who came and kind of helped welcome and greet our new staff. I think they're overwhelmed with positivity when they walk in that room, and that's exactly what we want them to experience. Talk a little bit of HR, and then this year we had Jane come over and introduce the teacher's closet for us. So not only did she get to come and talk about it, but we actually took them on a little field trip so they could go and actually see where it's at, see what kind of things are offered, because that afternoon we were sending them back to their classroom to go, okay, what's here? What do you have? Start making a list of the things that you would need. And then they got to go back Friday afternoon and shop with Jane for all of the things that they needed to help get their classroom kind of set up. And how many of those 37 did you have?
32.
32
Come by the closet
37.
Friday.
Yeah.
From needing stuff from staplers to writing paper to spiral
Right.
notebooks, which I have a lot of still.
Right.
So it was fun to see them just come in and be able to take the things they needed.
It's pretty great. And that's just a bit of the support. I'll talk to you more about some of the community support that we had that morning as well. Tuesday, we kind of get into the work that we're here for. We talk about our instructional framework and how do we as an organization approach instruction. What do we expect from our teachers? What do we expect from our students? And then they had a quick introduction from PEA, which is our education association, and they brought pizza, they brought lunch for them, and then they were in their classrooms the afternoon. Wednesday, we started on brain science. So if you remember last year, we went through a brain science training with all of our staff over the course of the year, but we gave them the foundational pieces that we'll build upon with those new staff throughout the year. But they understand more of why our instructional framework is built the way that it is, and it's all centered around that research around brain science. We also introduced them to special education in Prescott. What does that look like? How can you support students who have special needs within their classroom? And then we also did for our special education staff some IEP Pro training with them in particular, getting them into the software that they're going to be using on the day-to-day with their students. Thursday, this one's one of my favorites. We actually talk about culture because we know that if you don't set the right environment, whether that's classroom or school-based, kids are not going to be willing or ready to learn. So how do we approach that as a district? And it's such a great way to end our time with them. That's the end of our formal time with them. But we leave them with a really positive feel, and they have some great strategies to take away that they can implement in their classroom to help build those relationships and set that expectation that this is a learning environment. I'm here to support you. I'm here to help you grow, but I'm going to hold you to some high expectations. And then Friday of this year, we just had our 5th through 8th grade teachers, our new teachers participate in iReady training, and then everybody else had the day to kind of process the information that they were given throughout the week and continue to set up their classroom and get that ready so they could focus on all new staff coming back like they did Monday. So again, that Monday morning where we welcome new staff back, they are overwhelmed with positivity. We've got all of our administrators, we've got board members, we've got community members. We started with some donations from some pretty amazing partners who've been working with us for quite a while. So we had coffee and tea from Method Coffee for them. We had Parlor Donuts, and then Chick-fil-A also brought in a boxed lunch for everybody. So they were fed really well on Monday. And you can see kind of stuff they bought. If you haven't had Parlor Donuts, they look... They're pretty elegant. That's all I can say. We also, this is year 2 or 3, I believe, that Sherry Heine and the Chamber of Commerce have welcomed our new staff, not just to Prescott Unified, but to Prescott as a whole. So they've reached out to the Chamber and asked for donations for our new staff. And the first year, they had 1 bag of goodies. Last year, they brought 2 bags of goodies, and this year there was 3. So I can't even imagine what next year's going to look like. But our community has stepped up, and they really helped our staff feel welcome. So if you see all of that stuff that's on the table, those are all of the things that were provided. So there are things that they can use in their classroom. There are things to get to know our community. There's an ice scraper, and Sherry had to tell people what that's for. And I think the people from Wisconsin kind of laughed at us a little bit, and they're like, don't even need that. So this was another great way to welcome our staff that Monday morning and help them feel like they're part of not just our community, but the Prescott community. And then Teacher's Closet. This was something that I think kind of blew their minds a little bit. They were shocked that they, first of all, were getting so much that morning, and then the fact that they could be given things throughout the year and the supplies that they need. I think everybody who's been in a classroom or who's been in education has spent money out of their own pockets for their classroom. And for them to go...
That first picture on the left, that is the original closet.
Is that the original one?
The original little closet above the gym at Washington.
So I didn't go on the field trip because I stayed back with the other half of people, so I didn't have pictures, so I snagged some. But they were all very excited, and clearly they heard the message because they showed up on Friday and got to shop for some new stuff for their classrooms. So here's some pictures of just the new stuff that we have. I have to tell you, I mean, I think I say this probably every year, but this is a great group of new staff. They were funny, and they were engaged, and they had great contributions. I am excited to see how they contribute and become part of their staff community, because they, as that group, built community really quickly. And I know part of that was by chance, part of that was intentional, but they walked in with such a great attitude and such great perspective that they were a great group to work with.
Kelsey, can I share something on that?
Yes, please.
Just really quick. I talked to 2 different principals this morning as they were working particularly high on, and you know, they looked like they're a standout. Both of these principals said, all of them, they are great. So like, that's pretty cool. After, you know, 5 days together or whatnot, they're very impressed, just like Kelsey's saying, with the cohort of folks that we were able to recruit this year. Pretty neat.
And very diverse. I mean, lots of different experience and perspectives walking into that room, but man, I'm excited to see and watch kind of how they become part of our team. So during those, because we have them Monday through Thursday every morning from about 8 until noon, they're working. We're helping support them. We're giving them the information that they need. And we also try to balance that really carefully, because sometimes it can feel like you're drinking through a fire hose. It's so much information. So we give them time to process. We give them what they need to start. But we do a lot of modeling, and we do a lot of bringing that brain research that we talk about in. And so we're teaching them in the way that we want them to teach their students. So they were able to, when we started brain science, go, oh, you did that because that does this. This is why you're putting those together. So it wasn't just sitting at a table taking notes. They were up, they were talking, they were moving, they were doing things. So a couple of my favorite are this top one. They're playing charades. So this could be a brain break. It could be, if you know, kids getting squirrely, you need to reset, you could do that. But you can also do it with academic vocabulary. So we taught them ways that they could start to get kids to practice using vocabulary with different ways. This next one down here came directly from brain research. This was actually the start of it. So to get them interested and to start thinking about learning and how your brain processes information, they have a paper bag with some items in there, and they have to stick their hands in and figure out what they are. Well, we can't just make it too easy. So what we did was we had one of those squishy ball brains, because we were talking about brain science. We had a match, and we were trying to spark some curiosity. And then we had a whole carrot stem and all. I wish I had more pictures when they first put their hand in that bag and were like, what is this? But it really does get them talking about what's there, what they're seeing, and then they get to share about why they think those things were in the bag and how that has to connect. So that was one of them. And then one of my other favorites is pure controlled chaos, but we always have a rock, paper, scissors tournament. Again, it's how can you do silly things that can take you a minute or two that help build community? So with the rock, paper, scissors tournament, it starts off, everybody finds a partner, you do rock, paper, scissors. The winner then goes, but the loser has to follow them as now their cheerleader. So it just continues to grow until you have 2 people left, and you have half who are cheering for one and half who are cheering for the other. And it's madness and crazy. And we always do this during high school schedule pickup too. So I'm sure people are like, what is happening in there? They're having a lot of fun. But it does break it up, and they get to know people, and they get to have a little bit of fun in the process.
On that larger picture, again, those are the wraps Andy was alluding to.
Yes.
So you can actually see the wraps. I believe those are yearbook.
Yeah,
Wraps of
sample
yearbook.
pictures
so
from
you can
yearbooks
see
back
a little
to
bit of
1911.
what the new high school library looks like
Yes.
with the wraps back to 1911. Okay.
And the high school is a large space, so we typically have held meetings there, but it makes holding meetings in there a lot more bearable. And honestly, we used to avoid the Granite Mountain Library. We wouldn't hold meetings there because it was a really sad spot. I can tell you we've already held 3 or 4 there. It comes to mind as one of the ideal places in our district to use. So
we had about 70 people in there this morning.
Yep.
You're right. It used to be kind of a sad prison library
Yes.
vibe, and now it's
not anymore. It's
way better.
beautiful. Yeah. So this is our entire team, so all 37 with just one of their bags from the chamber that they had. So they were an incredible group, and I'm excited for them. And then this Monday, we welcomed all of our staff back. Some of the themes for the week are really just staff meetings, setting the tone, getting to know their new staff members. We're doing a lot of synergy trainings, so we've done those today. That's what was happening in the Granite Mountain Library. Meet the teachers. We're doing everything from paraprofessional training on what is your role, what's your expectation. Tomorrow is the majority of our Meet the Teachers, and then Thursday is day 1. It's go time. And then Friday, we do have one training for some elementary interventionists. That's not on here. And then we have our staff meetings that will go over school safety and all of our protocols that they need throughout the year. And so you can see this bottom right one, or bottom left one, is actually the Granite Mountain Library. You can't see a ton, but there's lots of great space, beautiful tables, all of the things in there. And lastly, I would just like to say, these 3 weeks are definitely a ton of work, but it takes a whole team to make that happen. So it starts with HR and Andy's team, who get people in the door, get them hired, get all of the stuff needed that they need for us to do the work that we do. Our team of instructional coaches, I cannot thank them enough. They are working their tails off to get new staff training up and running and to support those new staff as they get settled on their school campus. There was a time about 4 years ago that this was the most stressful week of the entire year because there was so much happening. But we've got such an amazing team, and we've really refined our process and what we're doing that it's not stressful. It's actually really a lot of fun, and we get to be just present and engaged and participate in that. Principals were a huge part of that. Not only did they come and support all new staff at orientation, but both them and assistant principals came, and then they were helping staff back at their site, our new staff. So they're doing a ton of work to get ready for not only new staff, but all returning staff and then kids back. So it really is an incredible team effort, and it takes every single one of those to make all of this happen and get the school year launched correctly. So, yeah.
Do we know how many brand-new teachers we have this year? Just right out of
Like
the...
fresh out of college?
Yep,
kinda
fresh
thing?
out of the gate.
We were just looking at that today. I think we're at 6.
Okay.
Does that include Keystone, or is that separate?
That includes Keystone.
That does include Keystone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kelsey, can you maybe calculate in your brain or approximate for us the total number of people who've gone through or are currently enrolled in a Keystone program since we started it, what, 4 years ago?
So currently we have 5 total in special education, plus 3 in general education.
Right?
And then I think we've graduated 10 or 11,
That's
Okay.
a lot.
somewhere close to that.
And most of those folks are still with us.
Yes.
There's a couple of exceptions to that, people who've gotten to the end of their career or said, this was harder than I thought, oh my
Yes.
gosh. But,
Yeah. All of the ones who've graduated with us are still with us.
yeah, okay.
So the ones who stuck out their 2 or 3 year program, they're still with
That's
us.
a pretty successful program, too.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Any questions for Kelsey? Andy's got something to say.
I just, I really appreciate that you take the time to give new staff and especially those new teachers some dedicated time just for them. I hope other districts do that, but
Yeah.
if they don't, that really stands out to me, is that these individuals need a little extra care and support at the very beginning, because it's overwhelming.
Yes.
So I really appreciate that you do that, and I hope I know it's intentional, but, let's keep it intentional and keep it building.
Can you share a little bit about the feedback that you got from new staff as you asked? Is that okay?
Yes, yeah. So at the end of day 4, the last Thursday that we have with them, we ask them to fill out a feedback form and just say, hey, look, we're always learning. We want to grow. We want to continue to improve. So tell us what went well. Give us some suggestions. What can we do better? How can we improve? And we normally get really good feedback. This year was completely different level of feedback. Nobody had anything negative to say. Everything was the highest ratings. I didn't pay them to write that. I didn't bribe them. And it was really, I genuinely asked them to be honest in their feedback, and I feel like they were. But it's not often that you get teachers who spend 4 days in meetings and training to go, this was outstanding, and that was the feedback that we got. So I'm really, really proud of our team who worked really hard to put that together and be very intentional with what we were doing, and I think it paid off. It set a really good tone for all of our new staff.
There was a nice article in the Courier this morning about it. Thank you, Alan, for being there to gather information about that. And we got versions of this year, and we have many years in a row. We get people who have worked in multiple other districts in the past and come here, and we get told every year, I've never seen anything like this. This is the best onboarding process I've ever seen. And we're pretty proud of that. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
All right, let's move on. We're down to item 7, information items, summary of current events. Clark? You just
Okay.
had a pretty good summary of what happened in the first couple
Yeah,
weeks.
well, absolutely. I mean, that's truly, as far as like the most recent, most impactful things, Kelsey's done a terrific job of presenting that. And if you're getting the impression that that's a pretty special lady, you're right about that, for sure. She, maybe it's, I hope it's okay to share. She's got a lot going on in her life right now, some really exciting things, and some things that probably would find challenging if it was us going through it. And she's just doing it all. It's amazing. She's amazing. Thank you. Thank you. You just make a huge impact on everything we do. Everything that Brian does is foundational. We can't operate without him. Everything that Andy does is foundational. We can't operate without him. Kelsey's in charge of the most important thing we do, which is instruction for kids, and they're all just great. I just feel blessed to work with these folks. So, and you know how valuable Sarah is. The whole thing falls apart without her. Michael as well. Oh my gosh, our technology. I mean, you can see everything we do is based on technology. I could go on forever, so I'll stop. So that's been the main things that are going on, and then Sarah, you've got. Yeah, we've got one slide, and then one other thing I want to make mention of. So Andy reached out, it's probably been a month ago maybe, and shared a photo with me of 4 kids that I got to
yes.
interface with a lot when they're at Prescott High School. I
kids
was
you might
teaching there.
recognize.
Yeah, I don't know how well you can see from the photo there with the lighting and stuff, but
Your kid up
on the left is Allison Fair, so Andy's oldest, and then a good friend of hers, Julia King, and then Ethan Kirschbaum and Tony D'Angelo, all great kids who graduated in 2011, 2012, right, within a year of each other, went through Prescott High School together. And like a lot of our kids, we lose touch with some. We don't know what they've done. Sometimes we know, oh, they're a dentist in town, or they're in charge of a huge factory and, taught at West Point, or they, worked in higher education their whole life, or they're a successful realtor and accountant and whatnot. We know what some of our folks have done, but we don't always know. It's super cool to hear what kids are involved in. So these 4 kids, Allison's and what, maybe just tell us really quickly, Andy, you sent this to us. I can read it and share, but you could do an even better
Talk about
job.
all 4 of them?
If you don't mind, just give us, the 20-second version on each of these 4 kids who just
Sure.
happened to get together, and then we'll explain the circumstances as well,
Sure.
if you'd like.
So I'll start with Allison, because she's my daughter. She is an engineer, an automation engineer now for Airbus in Seattle. So she gets to design the robots that build the airplanes and tell them what to do. And she's been able, since she started working there 8 months ago, she's been to France twice to work in the factory in France in that period of time. Dr. Julia King has her doctorate in chemical engineering from the University of Washington, and she is involved in cardiac arrest research and does that in the Seattle area. I'll leave Ethan for last because he might be the coolest of them all.
Allison went to Gonzaga?
Allison went to Gonzaga, yep. Dr. Tony D'Angelo is a resident in the Dallas area. He got his medical degree from the University of Arizona and is now finishing his residency down there. And Ethan Kirschbaum graduated from Prescott High and went to the U of A and went through the theater and fine arts program there. And so you think, okay, so he's going to wait tables in a restaurant. No, he is the lead male in the touring production of Wicked that travels around the country. He plays Fiyero in Wicked. And he's traveling. If you look up Ethan Kirschbaum, I mean, you got to see this guy. He's definitely a rock star. And these are 4 kids that, just used to come to our house. They would hang out. It's amazing. I don't know how else to say it other than these are just great kids. But this is all Prescott. I mean, you can talk to any one of us and we have similar experiences.
So many stories.
I mean,
The kids that
So
are
many.
produced out of this high school is
Yeah.
unbelievable.
yeah.
So pretty neat to hear, these kids, they were in Mrs. Smith's English class 10 years ago or whatever. Now they're doing great things in the world. And so Andy shared this, and we thought, hey, let's put that on Facebook. We got a little bit of bio and whatnot. And Sarah has taken the initiative to work with me, and we're going to try to kind of start a series on
I like that.
Facebook, reaching out to people and saying, hey, do you have a photo? And can you update us on what you're doing? And you don't have to be, you know, a doctor of chemical whatever, researching cardiac this, or building airplanes with robot, or building the robots that build airplanes, whatever, or be the lead in Wicked to do that. Just, you know, what do you do? Are you driving for Amazon these days? Are you an engineer someplace? Are you a dentist someplace? Give us a photo, update us, and we'll share with the rest of our community what Prescott High and PUSD schools produce. So.
Just the last thing about this is this was in Dallas. Julia and Allison flew from Seattle to Dallas and met Tony, and they went to the show and met up with Ethan after the show. So,
Kind of fun.
and they had to keep all the young girls off of him.
Sarah, do you want to share more about the spotlight kind of thing that we're hoping to do going
No,
forward?
I will post this on Facebook, but and if there's any avenue, maybe the website, just to get people to send us their information. It'll be, I don't know what we'll do with it after, but
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
compile something and, yeah, just.
Sounds
wanted to
great.
get
You
something
probably have to
get
ask
started.
parents,
People
because
are
they'll always
asking,
brag.
Yeah, parents will brag. I
do
could
we have
brag.
an idea of what
You could
people are
brag.
doing and we don't?
Yeah.
So, now we do.
Yeah, pretty neat what people go on from PUSD to do. I'm just looking around the room. Half of us in the room graduated from Prescott High School. We've gone on to okay things.
Just back up and part of the.
No, I mean, all your kids have as well, and you're a huge part of impacting all of these folks. Yeah,
I'll never
I mean,
be
that
a
doesn't set you apart as
badger.
some kind of special group or whatnot, but we get people sometimes in the community who are under the impression that our schools are failing or whatnot. This speaks otherwise, frankly. So, yeah, pretty neat. And then the other thing I wanted to share is not as happy, but also meaningful, impactful. A lot of you know that Patty Rummage passed away recently, so I wanted to share. Her memorial service will be held September 5th at 2 p.m. at the Solid Rock Christian Fellowship downtown. She passed away earlier this month. She had a big impact on PUSD over the years. She taught for 50 years. Washington School, Dexter Elementary, Mile High Middle School, and kind of like Jane, retired, but then went right back to work doing, she just doing other things. In Patty's case, she taught for another 10 years at Skull Valley Elementary School.
And then she worked the soup kitchen at
Absolutely,
Solid Rock
absolutely.
every Monday night.
Every
for-
single week.
Yep,
I got to do
every
that
Monday night.
alongside her a couple of times. Pretty neat experience. Good lady. Just, and of course has left a great legacy. One of her daughters has worked for us now for almost 40
Our
years.
longest standing
Yeah,
employee.
yeah, exactly right. Our longest serving PUSD employee, and their family, has just been a big part of Prescott. Anyhow, Patty has asked that anyone who wishes to donate, in lieu of flowers kind of a thing, right, as many of Stan's family members and others have done recently, they've asked that donations be made in her name to the PUSD Distinguished Alumni Award Committee. She was an awardee last year, one of our inaugural awardees, and/or to the PHS Half Century Scholarship Fund, and/or to the 5 and 2 Soup Kitchen at the Solid Rock Church that Jane was just referencing, where she worked faithfully every week for years and years and years to serve people who were less fortunate than she was. So, pretty neat lady, and another of our great Prescott and PUSD folks who have passed on.
All right, Brett, any summary of current events you want to talk about?
Just before this, I attended the Granite Mountain Schedule Pickup and Meet the Teacher Night, which was fantastic. They did a great job. Organization was great. The vibe was good. Kids are excited, and everything went smoothly.
Stan?
Nothing, but we'll be doing Meet the Teacher tomorrow night.
Ooh,
yeah.
what grade is?
Well,
what
we've
grade
got a
boys
second and
a
fourth grader,
that's what I
big
thought.
fourth grade, top of the heap.
Yep.
That's right.
My grandkids are exactly the same age. Andy?
So I had the opportunity, it was an honor really to talk with Allison Maddox at Mile High Middle School on an interview, and she has some really good questions. She's a Keystone participant, and she's finishing up, so this was her last assignment she had to do. The last question I thought was really good. What skills do you believe are the most important for today's STEM students to develop? And I thought it's just curiosity. This is what I told her.
Be curious and not judgmental.
Yeah, Ted Lasso.
Ted
right?
Lasso.
And the last thing is I've been working with Mingus Union High School District on setting up the ASBA Yavapai County meeting, and they are going to host it, I hope, this year. As far as I know, they're still on board to do it. But if they don't, we have a backup plan, which would be the Granite Mountain Library here.
Wouldn't
So,
be a bad backup plan.
yeah, so that's what I've got for now.
Jen?
I got to go to the new teacher event, and it's always so inspiring to see new faces and to hear Stan's video every year, the history of PUSD. It's so shocking. I really think more people need to hear that video. It needs to be shared on a larger platform somehow, because it's really cool when you know the history of PUSD and how just what an impact we've had on education statewide, not just here in our local community. But it was really great, and I guess ready for school to start at the junior this year.
Yes.
So I didn't do anything because he drives a car. I got a picture of his schedule on my phone. That's what I have.
Not much. I attended a bond override meeting where we're starting to talk about the facts out there, that what are the facts that actually are in the bond and the override, making sure that we.
What was the attendance?
Jen was there. How many did we have the last meeting?
Maybe like
30?
25, 30,
25 or 30?
somewhere in there.
And then
Yeah, it was good.
previous meeting was well too, and we're just getting in, but just making sure the community knows the facts. That's what we're allowed to do, and that's what we're trying to get out there, are the facts. Amazon, we already talked about, they're going to be.
Real quick
a
about the
big-
bond and override
Yep.
meeting. If we attend that, do we need to post it, or do we need to coordinate that we don't have too many board members, or how do we?
So, great question,
Appreciate
and
that.
Sarah, jump in if you,
We have a blanket posted
yeah,
for things like this.
for anything. So if you happen to be at the same restaurant or an event at a school or something like that, we've already posted that can happen. You should not be getting together and talking about things that will come across the dais later and sharing your thoughts with more than one other board members, for open meeting purposes. But yeah, there would be no problem with all 5 of you showing up if you wanted to.
Okay. The only other thing I had to mention, which is I will not be on the ballot in November
And why is that?
because no one's running against me. So I don't have to do any campaigning. Isn't that amazing? So hallelujah. All right, so, yep, and we have Emily Davis stepping up in place of Stan, which, big shoes to fill, literally and figuratively, but I think that will be a good fit as well. So that's,
2 people who know our district well
Yeah.
and care, and I think are, heart's in the right place and have great ideas
Yeah.
for us where we go next.
we had the Heights Church does a Stuff the Bus every July, where they get together after their services on a Sunday and they stuff the bus with supplies for the teacher's closet and kids that need it. That was very well attended. That's a pretty exciting day for me because, again, the generosity of our community is sometimes a little overwhelming. It's just hard to believe how much people are willing to give. So that's it for me.
Does the donated supplies go to the teacher's closet, or they go to students, or how do they distribute that?
They go to this teacher's closet, but that's also the cornerstone of where kids who can't get supplies come. So then they contact Judy and say, I can't buy this list of supplies for our kids. And then they come in and we fill it.
We have a
And we-
family resource center
Yep.
that shares the same space with
and
the
the
teacher's
supplies.
closet.
So we'll fill their little backpacks with everything that's on their list. And tomorrow,
Sometime-
on Thursday when they get to school, it'll be kind of fun.
Yeah.
They won't feel the least bit out of sorts because of that.
Is there anything you're lacking this year?
Or not anymore. We were lacking pencils, believe it or not, because at the end of the Stuff the Bus, they always grab a bin to send to Chino because they don't have a supply closet like we do. And this year, I wasn't there, but they just forgot about it, and at the last minute, they said, here, take this bin. Here, take this bin. It was our bin of pencils and dry erase markers. But now I've gone out and spent some of our funds replenishing that. But that's the only thing we were in short supply of, and we're not now. So it's good. We're in good shape right now. It's very fun. All right. Anybody else have community comments they want to share? 7B, what community members talking to you about? Anything you want to let us know about? We're all pretty good right now? I'm sure that will be coming up as we get into the possible elections later. All right, let's move on to our consent agenda, 8A. Is there any item on the consent agenda that you would like to pull or you have a question about before we vote on it?
Right, if that's okay. 8A5, A6, A7, and then A8.
And I think we had decided that we don't have to necessarily pull them. We can
Don't have
talk
to.
about them.
You may if you wish.
So if you have something you want to bring up about those, we can
Yeah.
clarify before we vote.
I just, we've talked about community partnerships.
Yes.
Even that video that has been playing, it's, there's something about PUSD and then how the community has rallied and then vice versa, how
And
the
for
school.
the audience, if they don't know what those particular numbers are, it has
Yep.
to do with our school resource officers for the most part.
First three do.
Right. And it's just a great example. So A5 is, longstanding resource officer for PHS. But, the contribution from the city is 50%, that they kick in. And that allows us to have this, the possibility. And so, again, great partnership. A6 is Mile High. We've had that for a number of years as well. And that's a 75-25 split. City does 25%. And still allows us to have a resource officer there. And then in A7, how many years have we had him at Granite Mountain?
So, yeah,
2 years.
Two years.
We're going into year three, are we? Yeah, going into year 3 of that. And Stan, you're exactly right. So the one at Mile High and the one at Granite are 100% grant funded through the state. The one at Prescott High School is not funded at all by the state. 50% from the city and 50% from us.
So could you repeat that?
Good.
So that we have a grant that we've written that covers the 75% of our share for the Mile High and
No,
Granite?
yeah, good question. For Granite
Because
and
we-
Mile High, during the course of the school year,
Right.
Yeah.
we pay for 100% of their salary and benefits through a
okay.
grant. So there's
Through a
no
grant.
net cost to the district.
Okay.
During the non-part of the school year, they just work for the police force doing, community patrolling
I
and
didn't
whatnot. All the
realize
city
that was all
Yeah,
pays for
covered
that.
by
as I
grant.
read the MOU, it
Yeah.
doesn't say,
It doesn't say
but
it's
it says
covered by
it
a
comes out of
grant.
PUSD, but you're saying
It's a
that.
grant.
There's no cost at all
75 is
directly to us,
wow.
but other than we have
All
to
right. I
write the grant
didn't know
and
that
follow the
either.
parameters of it and whatnot. It's a competitive grant. It's not a,
Ooh, that's pretty cool.
one of those grants they just say, okay, you get it just because you asked for it, kind of a thing. And then for the city, for years, it's just as you said, the city paid for 25% during the school year. We paid for 75%. We were able to negotiate that last year with the city to be 50-50.
50/50.
Wow. Well,
And there
great
was
work.
another one you wanted to talk about as well?
Yeah, and then just, again, partnership, and I couldn't glean it from the board packet, but am I assuming because of the waiver of conflict,
Oh,
which we
8A,
do
yep.
already for any Yavapai County services because of the attorney eligibility?
Exactly right.
Are they doing our physicals? Is that a partnership with the physicals?
Yeah, so they reached out to us, what's it been now, Sarah, maybe a month ago, 2-3 weeks ago, something like that, and said, hey, we'd like to, if your students need physicals, we know it's hard to get into a primary care physician for that and can be expensive, and all of our students before they do sports, and that's hundreds and hundreds of kids, need to have an annual physical to make sure that they're, in physical shape to do that, and see if there's any issues, et cetera. We've got lots of different folks who have partnered with the school district for years to do that, a lot of doctors in town, et cetera. So we've got 2 or 3 avenues for that already, but it's great to have another one. So the county health department said, we can help with that as well. If we're gonna do that, in case there was ever anything, right, we share the same attorneys, we gotta do a wave of potential conflict of interest if somebody said, my physical took too long, and, whatever. Then it'd be a thing, so.
But it just highlights that, if we wouldn't have had this, we wouldn't have known that, hey, our county health department also steps up for our kids. and
They have
that's
been
pretty
such
amazing.
great partners over the years, yeah, no
That's great.
question.
So just want to highlight that partnership.
Thank you.
All right. Any other things you wanted to discuss on the consent agenda? Are we good? All right. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a double second.
Jeez.
Wow.
All those in favor of accepting the consent agenda this evening, say aye.
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 Any opposed? and passes 5-0. All right, let's move on to number 9. Where is that at? All right, 8B, our study and voting session. Sarah, anyone from the public wishing to speak tonight? No. All right, so nobody out there wants to speak.
You are going to speak one time. We're going to hear you, and you're going to be
Yes,
like,
he's
I
gonna-
have something to say today.
All right, so let's move on to 8B1. This one is to consider taking action to temporarily suspend the district's restriction against alcohol consumption.
I think we're the kindergarten one.
Yeah,
Oh, did I miss one?
Yeah.
Consider
8B1, so
approving.
here you go.
We're not doing alcohol in kindergarten.
These are two here.
You got the old
You can
agenda
have
still?
mine.
Okay, I have
Sarah
the, I
brought
do
you a new
have
one, I
it.
think.
That was the one, there must have been 2 changes. There you go, got it. Okay, all right. Let's back the horse up here. 8B1 is to consider approving students recommended for early entrance into kindergarten this year. Kelsey?
Yes, so we talked about this at our last board meeting. We had quite a few students who had applied for early kinder and who were accepted. In between that time, we've had one additional student apply for early kinder enrollment, and she did qualify. So this is just for one early kinder student tonight.
Okay, there you go. I now have the correct one. All right. Do we have a motion to consider approving this one little person into kindergarten this year, early?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor of approving the little student that's recommended for early entrance into kindergarten? Little people are my favorite.
Aye.
Aye.
We're all like, wait.
Any opposed? All right, passes 5-0.
Teacher comes out.
They're so cute. All right, so let's move on to 8B2. I'm on track now, right, Sarah? Do we
Depends on what
have
you
a
say
motion? Do we have, we're down to golf. That's
Yeah,
right.
yep, you
All
got it.
right.
We're there, we're there.
Do we have a motion to approve the overnight travel request from Prescott High School? Do we want any, do we have someone who was going to speak on that?
Adam was
Adam's
going
not
to,
here.
I've let him off the hook tonight. They're
Okay.
doing a staff barbecue that they do
Okay.
at the beginning of every year, and he said, "I'll be at the board
All
meeting."
right.
And that later I said, "Please don't do that.
No,
If the
that's-
board members have any
yeah.
questions, I'm more than happy
And
to answer
that's just
those."
about a tournament that's going to be at Grand Canyon University. And if you read the packet, there were all those slides. Very well done, by the way.
I love the
Yeah.
new form.
Format.
It's a new form that Missy came up with.
Really
That's
good.
lovely new form.
It was a great new format. It explained
I'm very happy.
Yeah, all
I'm
the
like,
questions I
oh,
would have
I
asked
love
were
the new
answered in
form.
that.
I just have one question
Yep.
about it only lists one chaperone, or are we assuming there'll be 2 chaperones on that trip?
Depends on how many kids go. We've kind of got a standard for that. At the high school level, remind me, Andy, it's 1 chaperone to 20 or fewer, yes?
20 at night.
Yeah, so it's possible that another person may be going, but we require at least 1 for that, the number of kids who are going. The golf team's pretty small. They usually have, 5 to 8 kids that will go to a tournament. So we don't need a cast of thousands chaperoning us. A lot of parents will be there as well, but we've got somebody officially, the golf coach who's an employee of the district will be there, making sure that everybody's pointing in the same direction.
All right.
Good question.
I think, I mean, we can talk about this in the future maybe, but I think having 2 adults just for legal reasons, it would be a policy that makes a lot of sense to me.
Sure, okay.
But that might be something we can put on the agenda in the future and talk about the pros and cons of that, even if
Okay.
it's a parent or just because of the day and age that we're in and the legality and the accusations that could be made. But that might be something we can consider in the future.
That's a good thought. That's a really good thought. Andy and I are actually looking at some potential recommended adjustments to how we do our field trips and chaperones and whatnot, putting some things in writing that we've into policy that we've not had in policy before. So that's something we can
I
consider.
would be in favor of that as well, because you never know if you just have 1 chaperone, what happens if the chaperone needs to leave or some unforsaken, like something happening in their house or illness or whatever. It's nice to have somebody else there.
Or a medical emergency.
Yes, exactly.
Amongst, I mean, it's
Where he
with
has to go.
athletics, too,
Exactly.
Have somebody get hurt and have to go seek medical attention.
Most of these things that,
Oftentimes parents.
yeah, most of these things that we're talking about, you're exactly right. Virtually every parent is there, plus they're in a situation where there's dozens to thousands of other folks there, including medical, et cetera. So some of these scenarios we're contemplating might not apply. And you'd want to think carefully about the logistics of there's 6 kids on the golf team, getting 2 people who say, yep, I'll drive down there in the bus together and whatnot. It's hard enough to get one person to show up and be a coach. So we want to think about that, but I totally hear you on
Worth the
some of
conversation,
the other
though, I
pieces,
agree.
yeah.
And especially overnight trips.
For overnight trips, yeah, we've got a different standard for that.
If you're in a vehicle the whole time together versus in hotels.
Yep,
Yeah.
100%. So
We've probably all volunteered in various organizations that have 2 deep leadership, no matter where
Right.
you go if you are with kids.
right.
All right, we also needed to take a look at the state swim team, November 5th through 7th in Mesa, Arizona. And again, we had that new format on the computer, which I also
Are
like.
these 2 together?
Yes, they are together.
Okay.
They
So
are
the,
both part of B2.
so I have a question on the swim team one.
Sure.
Is I know Airbnb is an option for them, and actually hearing or seeing in the new form how they say this is a better option than hotels because you can keep everyone
Right.
under one roof.
Right.
I do like that. Do we need to, and I haven't had issues with a lot of quality with Airbnbs, but do we need to have a quality control of some sort with Airbnbs to ensure that we're getting what we pay for when we expend money for a house that, might have great pictures online, but it ends up being in a really bad location, or the house is not clean, or something like that? What's our recourse if something like that happens, as opposed to a hotel, which I know creates other logistics problems, but I just want to be sure that we're taking care of the expenditure that we make for a house for all of these kids and our
And the
staff.
safety, and the
And
safety.
yeah.
Well, and these aren't really our expenditures from a school district
Correct.
side. These are both being paid by boosters
By boosters.
Correct.
Yeah.
in this case.
That said,
But-
you're exactly right. that We want to make sure there's a certain standard. I don't know if that's a board purview, certainly
Okay.
the purview of the athletic department, the coaches and folks who work with them. We can express that to them. And, if you wanted to take that on a different way, you certainly could. I don't mean to say, that's none of your business. I'm not saying that at all. But that kind of gets into the minutia of how the athletic department is run and whatnot. And my understanding is they've been very careful about that, right? I mean,
And I'm
there's
sure there are.
There's below average hotels, and there's great hotels, and there's below
Yeah.
average Airbnbs and whatnot.
I see
And
what he's
your point
saying.
is well taken. The chances of there being just kind of a dodgy Airbnb are higher than a hotel, but I think they're pretty careful about that. They've done
And-
that
and
2 or
I
3 times in the
trust-
recent past.
I trust for sure that they are very careful. I just want to be sure that our students and staff are in a safe
Are only a safe
situation.
place and safe environment, safe
Yeah.
location.
Yeah. So,
Would you like me to just pass that concern along to the athletic department of the high school? Do you want to try to codify something in
I
writing
think
regarding
maybe
that?
just
or-
when it's, what would be nice is when they submit the form is that they've done research on the
The
location that they're suggesting,
Yeah.
or that they will do research on the location
Sure.
and kind of proximity to the place where they're competing
Okay.
or performing or whatever. Maybe some background on
Okay.
kind of what the neighborhood is like.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
We
that-
could-
I think we could add that to the form.
I was just going to
think
say, maybe on the
that would
form, we
be
could
a-
have an additional item, the reasons
pretty easy for her to do.
the lodging location was chosen, include
Yeah.
safety and logistics considerations.
Would almost
and
be
have
like
them
reason
kind of
for
report
accommodation choice.
in
And they-
advance.
To
We
explain.
chose this place because
Right.
it's 2 miles away, and the average rating on Verbo was 4.4,
Right.
whatever, that kind
Okay,
of thing.
I think that
And I
would
really
get-
like the idea of everyone being under one roof, and they have more control over that situation
Mm-hmm.
with students going in and out. You have a controlled entry and exit, which is much easier than a hotel situation. So those are all things that I think,
Sure.
yeah, let's just go into more depth maybe on
Okay.
that and let us know exactly what it is that,
Great.
because I'm not opposed to approving an
Right.
Airbnb for sure. That's.
Yeah, just want to make sure
My
everybody's
guess is-
meeting a certain standard, and they've thought through that
Yeah.
and can report to you on that. That makes sense.
My guess is Raymond submitted this early in order to secure the Airbnb, so
Yeah.
they would have, if they were to submit it with the address and everything of where they're saying, they would have had it already secure, the Airbnb, before they have board approval,
That's fair,
which
too.
may also be risky depending on their cancellation policies.
That-
But
yeah.
I'm sure that's why he's doing it so early, so he can secure an Airbnb, is my
Raymond's
guess.
just kind of on top of things. We've never had one this early for just a sports thing. I love that we're trying to get in a groove with that.
Right.
But that would be kind of the expectation if we approve an Airbnb, that these
Yeah,
are
yeah.
the things that you're going to do to ensure that this
It's
is.
safe, location-wise and.
I'll share, maybe I can get some feedback, that this is not too far off topic. As we migrated our field trip policy over from ASBA policies to our trust policies,
Right.
some of the detail that we had was lost. And that, we looked at all the different things we thought, oh, we're going to make sure we don't lose this. This was something that we just kind of missed. So we're looking at coming to you at a future board meeting, maybe as early as next month, with some new language around this. One of the ideas that was brought up that parallels what many other school districts do apparently is that if there's an overnight out-of-state trip being contemplated, that goes to the board. If there's one of these, then it just goes to the superintendent. And I've gotten a reaction from one board member on that, said, that's a terrific idea. I don't want you to vote right now for sure. Is there anybody who has concerns with that? I don't want to put a lot of time and effort into going that direction if people say, I want every single golf meet, gosh darn it, I want to vote on it. Up to you.
I like the idea of if it's out of state. Just because there's
For
been
sure.
several instances
Yeah.
where we're kind of up against a last minute thing and Sarah has to try to throw a quick meeting together for the board to approve something we are already going to approve. I mean, has we ever denied a school sporting event
To my knowledge,
that's in state?
Not in
I don't think
recent
we've ever
memory.
denied an out of state or out of country, actually.
To be clear, we would still have a level of administrative review of that, and we'd
Right.
still have them use the same form, et cetera, et cetera. I'd be very interested in lodging. It's not, it's going to
So
be, a check on everything.
I think what I hear us just quickly saying is that if it's out of state, we would like to be involved. But if
That's
it's
my thought,
if
but
it's
I don't
an
know what everyone else
in-state,
thinks.
Just direct, like these
That's
two we're
probably a
looking at
discussion we
tonight.
have to have in
I
a
think
that
future board
needs to be on
100%,
the
but
future
yeah,
agenda.
if
Yep.
anybody has major concerns with that, I
Okay.
don't want to put a
Yeah,
lot of
'cause we're
time
not
and
gonna vote
effort
on that
into that.
tonight.
People are
Okay.
open to that discussion, then
Yeah.
we'll come to you with a
Yes,
proposal
I
we
think
think
that's
makes
a
the most
great idea.
sense. Okay.
All right, do we have a motion to approve these two overnight travel requests from the Prescott High School Athletic Department as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor
doing that.
say aye,
Aye.
and that passes 5-0. All right. Now we're moving on to the alcohol one. 8B3, we are asked to consider taking action for temporarily suspending the district's restriction against the consumption and presence of alcohol on district grounds. Specifically, this would be at Prescott Mile High Middle School's Hendricks Auditorium, and I believe Clark is going to talk to us a little bit about that.
Sure, yeah, so this is the Boys and Girls Club's annual Dancing with the Stars event that they do, that they, do lots of, they've rented our facilities there for multiple nights to do their practices, et cetera, but their big event consists of two different parts of it. One of the performances of those who are the stars, who are dancing for the stars, I think they call it, right? What do they call it?
For the stars.
Dancing
For
for
the
the stars,
You've
except
been
for, there
in
you
it
go, Dancing
now.
for the Stars. That's right, that's right. So yes, we know that Stan is light on his feet because of his participation in that in recent years. At any rate, then they have a kind of a reception type of a thing afterwards, and they're asking to have alcohol in the school grounds, of course, totally outside of school hours, children not involved, et cetera, just adults. But by board policy and by law, you need to approve a waiver of the prohibition on alcohol on school grounds. You can't do that for smoking. So if they said, hey, we want to have a cigar, smoking, whatever, sorry, can't happen. But for alcohol, you are allowed to waive that if you'd like. And it's not an uncommon thing. When an organization rents our facilities outside of school hours, it has nothing to do with the school, and children will not be involved. The board has considered those kinds of things many times in the past and has decided to be good neighbors and say, sure.
Clerk, do we have to have it more broad than Hendricks Auditorium since it also will encompass the quad?
Good question. We probably ought to amend this to say at Mile High Middle School.
Like just
Thank
Mile High
you.
Middle School
Yep.
in general, maybe?
Yeah, because I'm not
Just
sure
to
that
make
they
sure
will
we
be
cover whatever
serving or
space.
drinking within the auditorium itself. I think it's the quad where they're planning to do their.
That would be my
Yeah,
guess.
great,
so yeah.
good pickup.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. So if you choose to, if one of you chooses to make a motion to approve this, let's just take out the words specifically Mile High Middle School instead of Mile High Middle
Okay,
School's
just
Hendricks
take
Auditorium.
Hendricks Auditorium out. Does that
Yeah,
satisfy
the
everybody?
apostrophe S and
It would be
Hendricks Auditorium.
specifically
Would that work,
Prescott
Sarah?
Mile High Middle School.
Okay.
It's a pretty easy amend there. All right. Any other questions, concerns about that? So we have a slight amendment, but we're going to take a motion to take action to temporarily suspend the district's restriction against presence and consumption of alcohol on district grounds, specifically Prescott Mile High Middle School.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 And that passes 5-0. All right, let's go down to B4. How'd I get into this, Andy?
Do you want to start?
Do we, this is to consider appointing me to represent PUSD as a delegate at the Arizona School Boards Association Assembly. That's going to be on September 9th, 2026, and I believe that's the day before the law conference.
Correct.
All right,
So-
and you were going to tell us about this?
Yes. So the ASBA Law Conference is happening September 9th through the 11th at the Camelback Inn in Phoenix. It's always a great conference. Last year was really good.
It was excellent last year.
Yeah. So at this law conference every year is the delegate assembly, where every district can have a member serve as a delegate to represent the views of the school board that they're from. And basically, they will be voting on approving or not approving the annual, they call
Political
it the
agenda.
political agenda, but I
Right.
would call it the advocacy agenda for ASBA. So I am not able to attend this year. I'm going to be on a trip that required us to book it a year out, and that it falls during this time. So I would still like to be the delegate, but we should have an alternate delegate appointed as well. And if Jane is open to doing that, that would be fantastic.
Now, I know Jen is going as well to the law conference, right? Would you want to amend this so that you can do that rather than me?
No, I'm
It
good.
doesn't matter.
You can go.
Okay. Anybody else, you're not going, I don't believe so. Okay, do you want to do rock, paper, scissors?
No, I'm good. I'm really good.
And just, there is a,
I thought I was in the law conference that day, so now I get to work that day, and I'll go down that
All right,
night,
well,
so.
then that's
there
good.
I'm
is,
good.
so there is, the pre-conference starts on September 9th. The delegate assembly usually happens the Saturday after the law conference, but because that's Rosh Hashanah this year, they've moved it to the day before.
Which is a lot
Oh.
better for me.
Yeah.
Well, taking
Yeah.
your place is a lot better on a Wednesday than a Saturday.
So that's the need for this item, is to have someone designated as our delegate for this meeting.
All right. Any questions? All right. Do we have a motion to appoint me, Jane Robertson, to represent PUSD at the district delegate, as the district delegate to the Arizona School Boards Association Delegate Assembly on September 9th, 2026?
I'd be honored to make that
Oh,
motion.
thank you.
I'd be honored to second that motion.
All those in favor of having me represent you?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed?
We're
Good.
enthusiastic.
That passes 5-0. Okay, I will have you, and you won't be, I can't speed dial you though, because you're going to be at the
No,
bottom
I
of the
won't
canyon.
have service, so.
All right, that's going to make it a little tough. All right,
Yeah.
let's move on to 8C, information and discussion items. Brian, you're up.
Can we do 8B5 first? Are we
Oh,
going
that's
to
right,
discuss
because
that?
I was, yes, sorry.
Yeah.
We just have to discuss, we need to discuss and consider action to approve the Arizona School Boards Association Draft 2027 Political Agenda. It was in the board packet that you
Yes.
got. Does anybody have anything they want to say about that?
I would just say that
have.
this
I
is
feel
fairly
this-
standard. There are some
Yeah.
things that have been taken out mostly, some things added in. Things like maximize, they will advocate for. I hate the word political agenda, and I'm
Yeah.
going to talk to them about this because ASBA is a nonpartisan organization, and anything we
Okay.
put out there that says political gives people the impression that it has a bent. Basically, what this is the agenda for advocacy that the organization will take to the state legislature. So we do have an on-staff, ASBA has an on-staff legislative advocate or you'd call it a lobbyist in most organizations. And he goes to the state legislature and advocates with our leaders for these things. He advocates with the governor. So things like maximizing state funding, supports base funding for schools, things like changing the funding methods in the state so that it's more coherent, you know, like charter schools get a certain amount and public districts have to apply for bonds and overrides. Those are the types of things that this is advocating for, and you can read through and see it. I was happy to see a lot of references to CTEDs
Yes,
in
me
this.
too. I was going to bring that up too at the very beginning.
And so
They-
that is a big movement at this point, is to advocate for more CTED opportunities. So that is what it's for. If you have questions about this, I would be happy to talk with anybody or to try to answer those at this point
It's
in time.
similar to what we do every year.
Yes,
It's not all that much of a difference,
Right.
with the exception maybe of CTED this year, which I
Right.
thought was really big. But we're always into attempting to change the way schools are funded, but it's not working, Brian, not yet, but.
and so if we would like to vote on this, basically what this would do is vote our approval or disapproval of this agenda that we would have Jane
Yes.
vote on at the delegate assembly. And if we feel that there's an area that PUSD feels should be changed, at that delegate assembly, we can direct our delegate to propose that amendment to this during that meeting. So that's why this is on the agenda tonight.
And I recall in years past, we've also taken no action, right? And just voted, just because there are some things that, you know, well, one, ASB was kind of in a state of flux for a few years there.
There were people,
And I do remember, I would say, since I've been on the board, we haven't taken action, from what I recall.
Do you remember?
I think it's
Did
kind of
last
hard.
year.
I
Yeah,
know
was
one
gonna say,
year
I
we
think that
didn't.
we have.
I think it's kind of hard to take action because if we say yes to this and Jane gets there and things change,
Exactly.
then Jane doesn't have authority to choose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what
It
happens
doesn't-
if something changes
Yeah.
there at the delegate? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the conference.
And that's kind of where I've always kind of been in that little conflict of, you know, we are, you know, members, we believe in what's, you know, what's going on and, you know, we want to provide a delegate, but but they can still move and, you know, they still have a I hate that it's political agenda for one, because
I would
then
say
it really does
advocacy,
throw it in this
yes.
whole different arena that I don't personally want to be really involved with. You know, we want to remain nonpartisan, we want to remain, you know, what's best for our community and our kids. And I think and I think by Jane going down there, she's gonna be a good advocate for us that, you know, because there may be certain things that, as I read through it, that I wholeheartedly agree on, but some that are a little bit questionable.
So even in this one that you've read here, some of them are questionable for
Well,
you?
yeah, not as in years past, but ones that,
Okay.
like, well, I'm not sure exactly of the whole, everything in it, honestly, so, and that's just my comments on it.
So when it comes to a vote today,
We're being asked to
Yeah.
consider action to approve it or
yeah,
not, so.
you'd need 3 of the 5 of you to say, yep, Prescott will direct our delegate to express our support of this
Right.
when we get to the delegate assembly. If fewer than 3 of you do that, then when Jane goes there, she'll share that as well, that we had concerns.
Do they make changes there?
There can be changes. There wasn't last year. There wasn't any changes to it. Anyone that proposes a change has to get up and speak what their change is and why they're
Why.
proposing that, and then it has to be voted on by the body. So, you know, the delegate has the opportunity to say, that's not what I came down here to approve. I'm not going to approve that. I won't vote for this amendment. So, yes, there can be discussion. It can be a long meeting, I understand.
You didn't
depending
tell
on-
me that.
Too
If-
late now, yeah, we're.
It wasn't
late.
last year,
Jen,
but
rock, paper, scissors.
I'm good. If
Can
If
Jane
we-
propose that they change the name of this to the advocacy
Absolutely.
agenda?
I
So
like
then-
that a lot better than political agenda personally.
I'd be in
I-
favor of that change, therefore, I don't think we ought to approve it here if we're asking her to make changes to it.
Well, are we approving
We're approving
the draft?
the motion is to approve the Arizona School Boards Association draft 2027.
But you're right, we don't have to approve that, but we can give Jane the opportunity to make a decision when she's there.
On behalf of us.
On behalf of
I
us.
like that.
And we
Okay.
did that.
We can
in-
direct
before,
districts
though.
We
delegate
did
to the
that
ASBA
with
delegate
voting
assembly.
Jane as-
Right.
In before. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
we voted
Right.
Jane as the delegate, so we've given her the authority to do that if we choose not to vote on this at this point in time.
Okay,
No pressure, Jane.
okay. I'll have to talk to you later about changing the name, because I would agree with that, but I'm not sure how
I
one
would
would
agree
do
with
that.
you, with all of those inputs, because, and I'm gonna share that with the executive director.
And
because-
that's probably your most direct avenue. I doubt
Yeah.
very much in the delegate assembly they're gonna change.
Right.
They're gonna vote to change the name of this, but in your position as one of the board members, you
Yeah.
can say, hey, this came up in our board meeting, what do you think? And that's a kind of a common sense thing.
And in
The word
representing.
political makes people lose their minds these
Right.
days.
And in representing other districts in Yavapai County, I know that there are other districts that see ASBA as a political organization, which they are not. But we do support good public policy for schools, and that's an advocacy goal. It isn't a political goal. So, I'm definitely going to share that
Okay,
with them in my role as a Board of Directors member for ASBA. But I think we give Jane as a delegate the authority to go in and say, I believe this needs to be changed.
all right, I'll still chat with you later about that.
Okay,
All right,
so we don't-
So,
I'm not calling for us to vote on this because I don't sense that there's a consensus of the board that we should vote on this at this point.
I'm just not sure what voting on it does as far as, does that, if something does change, does that mean Jane cannot vote? Like, what is her position when she's there?
Yeah, that's a good question.
so
It
is
kinda
my
ties her
position
hands.
just to represent the board with
Yes,
our position?
Which we just voted for, correct?
yes.
Yes.
That you would represent
That I'm gonna
us
represent.
as the delegate.
But
Right.
are we expecting me to vote yes to approve this advocacy agenda?
We've given you that authority, so you make a decision.
Oh, thanks.
If you want just I personally don't have, I read through it pretty carefully. I
read
don't have
through it
anything that's super glaring to me
Yeah.
that is a concern. There were some last year that I was a little bit more
Yep.
concerned about that we talked about, but one of the things I always think, and I think this in other areas of my life as well when it comes to advocacy stuff, is oftentimes we have a very full plate of advocacy that we can't possibly affect change in that many areas. And I sometimes think a really focused aspect is often more effective. I'm obviously not involved on a level that I have any ability to tell them how to do their jobs. So I just sometimes think it's very broad. Like, I mean, there's a lot of items here. So that's a lot to say they're going to do. I think it's the same every year because they really can't affect all those things in a single year. And I know when we went to the day at the Capitol, they had very specific things that day that we were speaking to our legislators about. So I know they dial that in very specifically at certain events or certain activities, but it is a very long list of things. But there's a very long list of things that need to change in education at the state level.
That's true.
So,
I guess I would say.
and it
this
doesn't
is-
lose sight of it that way.
Yeah.
It's like an ongoing list.
Right, it's kind of a template for what
Mm-hmm.
we hope to do.
Someday, right.
Yeah.
So,
All right, are we ready to make the motion? I think I'll still chat with you if this goes through
Yeah.
eventually. All right, so do we have a motion?
I don't know that we're voting on
I
it.
don't
We're
think
not,
we
but
need
I
to
don't think
vote
we
on
need to
this
vote
one.
on this at all then.
Okay.
You're just going to trust me.
I think, and help me out, Sarah,
Do we
because
have
this
to
is on the
vote?
agenda as a voting item, you probably need to vote to table.
Don't we have,
Or can we,
so
Vote
can
to
we
table.
vote
we could vote to
that-
table it.
Not even to table it, if we're making.
An
like,
amendment
no
to it.
action, or just no action, that can I get a motion, no motion, so it dies for lack of motion.
That's fair, yep,
That's what
that would be
I
the case.
propose.
Oh,
Okay, so how am I going to word this? Do we have a motion
We have a motion
Just like
to
you always
approve AB5 as
Ooh, we've
written.
never not motion.
a motion to approve it or to?
To approve AB5 as written, if nobody speaks up, then it dies for lack of a motion.
All right, so do I have okay, so nobody's going to make a motion. Okay, this is the first one. Every month I get something different. All right, do I have a motion to consider approving the Arizona School Boards Association Draft 2027 political agenda? We have no motion, therefore, we move on. Is that it?
Yep.
Okay, so that was a no vote, so no motion. It's kind of like Congress sometimes.
Yes,
All right,
just like
let's move
Congress.
on to 8C. Brian, are you still here?
Are you sure that's where we're at?
Yes, I got it. We're on 8C1. That was not called for right there, by the way.
Right
Okay.
there.
As
Would
presented.
you like to talk to us about the budget summary
I
report?
would, I would not unless there's questions.
Does there been any questions for Brian? No? All right.
Thank you.
So that's just an information discussion item. 8C2, requests for future agenda items. We've already mentioned a couple here tonight that we would like to have some further discussion on. All right, anything else somebody wants to have put on the agenda? Brett? I can.
We got the policy change.
Field trip,
Policy
chaperone
will
piece.
come up,
Mhm.
yep, the
The chaperone,
chaperones,
overnight trips.
overnight
Yeah.
trips, and the policy change that's coming our way.
Will our student reps be decided by the
I
next?
believe by by September meeting, we will have
So,
them.
yeah, once school starts, then they'll
Yep.
have kids that they can reach out to and say, are you interested? And, yeah, absolutely. The plan is over the next 3 weeks to determine those, and we should have that's, in fact, on our tentative conceptual agenda, we've got that already, so appreciate you bringing that
All
up.
right.
How does that go out? Are all seniors invited to apply?
Yes.
Is that how it is seniors in high school are all
Reaches
invited?
out to the senior class and says, here's this opportunity, who's interested, and we go from there.
Yeah.
Some really boring meetings in your future.
I feel like they embrace it more than anybody, though, that
I
our
think
student
they
reps
do
are
get
in it.
excited.
They are very,
They get,
it's very
especially-
impressive.
yes, we had 2 great ones last year who really got involved. I mean, Shay did more than sometimes I did.
We've been on a roll with our student
Yeah.
reps.
I'm pretty good so far.
again, that's something a lot of districts don't do. I don't think any other
So-
district we talked about
Let's
does
move
that.
on to 8C3, because Brett's packing his bag. Our next study and voting session will be at 5 on September the 1st here. First day of school is this Thursday. Anything for the good of the order? Are we all happy?
Happy?
All right, we are adjourned.